but after Massa really he did that. He's been doing it a few times. There is no, so when you have, so you have to pay attention. When you have like a government like Iran, there is no clear data, anything. I mean, I cannot prove it. There is no data. But when you look around.
Stop right there. You just said there is no data. But at the same time, when I asked you, while I'm scrolling social media, and I'm still thinking, hold on. I'm going to let you finish, but I got to go on what you just said.
You then you go. Let me finish.
On you into picking sides, and I've refused to do that, not because I. You're seriously mistaken. One, America or Israel? And the sign.
Yeah, so really well, anyone that is trying to paint the other as not evil, you're on the wrong side, period. So basically, Maxwell, I don't know if these
are Palestinians evil?
If Palestinians are trying to paint the IRGC and the Ayatollah as not evil, then they're participating in evil activities.
We're talking evil, not inconditional. We're talking objectively evil because of the history or the accident.
I think people,
or their strategy.
I think the people outside of their governments are just people trying to eat and have their lives. They're Palestinian or Iranian. They're innocent people.
Okay, well, what is up with?
I'm trying to talk about.
Why is everything individualism? We're not talking individualism. There's always good individuals.
This is why I always kick you down. It's because you literally throw me off my square. Okay.
What square?
The square that I'm trying to stay in. So,
Circle.
Oh, son of a. I don't know if you saw Chank and so Chank was saying that he was like, well, at least, one thing that could be said about Khamenei is, that he died on his feet and he didn't bend the knee to Israel. I've made this joke before, but I'm like, who else didn't bend the knee to Israel? Jeffrey Dahmer, right? What are you trying to say? Imagine somebody has done school shooting, killed 30,000 people, and then somebody wants to say something nice about their the murderer. Why?
It's always about myself.
Okay, that's it. I hate when you act like this. Anyway. So then, Mirza Bassem Youssef, who I love Bassem Youssef, Mirza, I don't care what anyone says, he said something about Khamenei being a martyr. And I tweeted him back and I was like, Bassem, I love you, but murderers are not martyrs. So on this stage today, Mirza, all day long, right, you have people that come up and they try to minimize, so basically Netanyahu and Trump are evil, but, Khamenei, there's just a bad government. Everybody has a bad government. Or Netanyahu and Trump are not evil. They don't do the stuff that, the Iranian government do. They're not oppressors, and they minimize the oppression of the Palestinians, the Sudanese, right? And all day long, this is how it's been, it's just totally saying, minimizing each other, what's happening to, Iranians or vice versa, what's happening to other people. And it's been a shit show, Mirza. It's been a shit show. So how are you?
So I'm good. I'm glad to see the murder of my people is finally dead. I honestly wanted to be captured alive, go through the court, and his supporters know what he did to them and everybody around us. That's what I captured and everybody else captured. You go through the, courts. They can have the lawyers, and people understand what this people did to my country last 48 years. So that was my idea, but that didn't happen. I was hoping that he has a very painful death. That didn't happen. Unfortunately, they killed him in the first couple of minutes. I'm not happy about it. I wish they would have somehow captured him, but every single day this guy was alive. It would cost my people and people around us, other people's lives. So I'm happy to see him dead. I'm not pro-war. During the 12-day war, I was against it, and I was a minority of people who did not support that war. But this time, I'm with people of Iran. It is very painful to hear somebody who lost his country begging for a foreign power to hit us. I'm like a person who has stage 4 cancer, and I grab anything that I can, because we tried more than 5 times in different elections, tried to do some sort of reform. It didn't work. They cheated in election. We tried to bring some reform in the country. It didn't work. People came to the street in millions. They're killed. There are different reports, somewhere between 15 to 45,000 people got killed. I'm in a camp of saying somewhere between 15 to 25,000 people were killed. That's more realistic number. But there are some reports that 45. We don't know yet until the whole thing settled down. But we know when regime said they killed about 3,000 people, you have to multiply that this in power of 5 or 10. That's a real number. That's their habit. They always do that. So I'm hoping for some sort of justice down the road. If the first and government get decapitated, there's a hope that the remaining will be able to make some sort of peace and would be a transition. But we have to have some sort of way for IRGC members and other military forces to defect safely. Otherwise, we're going to path of what they did in Iraq, or the correct pronunciation is Iraq. So we don't want to have that situation. There has to be some sort of path for them to be able to, those are not, their hand is not dirty in the blood of people. They can, continue getting paid. It's just IRGC and other, armed forces that get combined and become a new Iranian force. That's what I'm hoping. But if the United States start going after our, energy infrastructure, go after communication infrastructure, water infrastructure, then that would be a very, sad day for us, because we do not have the money to, to build this from scratch ever again. Just some information for people they want to know is like an average refinery can handle about 100,000 barrels of oil a day. It would cost somewhere between $9 to $15 billion. So that's the money that we do not have, and we cannot afford to build it from scratch. So I'm hoping the madness would, slow down. I think at this point they fired whatever they have, and within the next 24 hours we should see significant reduction of Iranian power, and hopefully there will be some sort of solution to them. I doubt there would be any sort of, ground force in Iran. It's just United States don't want it. There is an election coming in November, so nobody want to deal with that in the United States, and Israel doesn't have the manpower to do so. So probably would be only aerial campaign, and we'll see if Iranian, whatever remain from their government, would be able to mix. It would be surrounded. There's no peace negotiation, and that's what I want. But the problem comes when people see war through Palestinian lenses. If somebody who lives in the United States, the only thing they care about Palestinian. That's why you see most of these people are left are quiet, or they deniers, like this guy hanging in the other room. It's just like it's pointless to talk to somebody like him, because everything in a war goes through concern. The only thing I care is people of Iran. End of the story. I don't care about other people. I feel their pain, but that's not my issue. If my government wouldn't do that, they would still be alive in my country and not be run already. Exactly. And I don't want to be my priority. I have nothing to do with them. I don't care about what happened in Uganda. I feel pain for what's going on in Uganda. It's not my issue.
It's not about where you're from, but sometimes it over your people. It's about your people.
I don't see.
Sir, with all respect, if you're using that logic, then why should anybody care about the people of Iran?
Exactly. Because
that doesn't make sense. You can't say they don't when they have right now two of the most sophisticated militaries bombing your country in the name of helping the people of Iran. What are you talking about?
Let's just stop being.
Isn't this what they wanted?
Yeah, okay, you're contradicting.
What do you all supporters want then?
So these people are not logical, so I'm politely giving you.
We're not logical.
You want this?
You can't make this up.
you don't care that two countries are trying to raid your land, right? And unlawfully going and trying to raid you, and you're just going to sit back and say, yeah, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Right?
That is the craziest thing. He said, we're not logical. In one instant, he's saying no one cares about his people, but they're bombing it.
I removed the person that was cussing at you, but guys, you can't just like dog pound, okay? Remember, I already removed that.
How does it sound again? Sorry.
What are the United States people saying about this?
Hold on a second. One winner.
So, you invited my friend Hashmi. I think you heard him or not. I invited him again, and he has his own opinion as well, which might be different, but you should hear him and you should listen to him as well. He has a different opinion, but you should.
Alright,
Understood as well.
because I'm starting to get exhausted from the like low level, like it's just.
In all these that happens, I understand.
Yeah, so what are the United States people saying about this? What are they saying about this? I want to listen.
People, what are you talking about?
And then, you know, like the people, I'm from the UK, right? So I want to know, are the people opposing it? What are they doing about it? Are they agreeing with it?
I think there's a little bit of both going on.
Well, no, the majority of the people of America, when you look at the polls, they don't want military intervention in Iran. But the reality is it doesn't matter because the American government has chosen to do so, which is, fine. They're the administration, that's the president, they're doing what they want to do. But for someone to come up here and say they don't care about what other people's plights are, but at the same time getting help from a foreign government is silly.
When I agree with it, it's very painful for me to hear somebody say I don't care about other people. Like it hurts me, like to my core. But I'm an empath. But I understand what he's trying to say. Like I think it's human nature to prioritize like the tribes or the people that we have affection and ties.
But that's the thing, we are prioritizing it. Because if we allow this to happen, he's going to continue doing it. He's doing it right now. Right now. He's done it in Iran. Guess who's next on the list? He's doing it in Pakistan, taking over Afghanistan. You know that, right?
I don't know.
So basically, Donald Trump.
Listen, can you please speak slower? Okay,
So Donald Trump, right, has met with the Pakistani military guy, okay? Ask him her name. Has instructed him, right, to take over Afghanistan. So he's on South Asian, okay? So the US have shut down and killed, right, multiple Pakistani civilians. Okay,
What does that have to do with what's going on in Iran again?
Because the thing is, he is trying to invade another country. That's what I'm trying to get at. The next target is the next target.
How old are you here?
Okay.
If you don't mind telling.
I'm 28, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 25 or 24.
All I just want to point out was that this man's hypocrisy because, like I said, he says he's not caring and he He doesn't worry about anything else. He's not worried.
Yeah, let's let him respond. Please just let each other talk and you.
I think Mirzad is making sense. I heard him and he is completely making sense. Mirzad Jan, please go on that.
ببین مرزاد همه داره خیلی عصبی میکنن میخوام همه رو بندازم پایین
دنیا از لنز فلسطین
That's understandable. That part is understandable. But like
فقط به احترامتون میام ولی حرف زدن باشه چشم
راست میگی like با اینا ولی آدم‌های دیگه هستن توی آدینس که هر وقت نبودی خیلی بحث‌های خوبی بود حالا این زن رفته تو توالت ولی دوست دارم از این هشتمی هم بشنوم شاید این بیاره یه ذره نمیدونم چی بگم
Let me finish my argument, then they can gang on me as much as they want.
Let the moderator say something, and then there's a you go, and then we'll hear from Passion.
I mean, I think what it's me saying this as an outsider, obviously, but what I'm seeing happening is you have two people that have situations where they desire to be liberated. And in the case, the liberation of one is perceived as, it's not necessarily the case, limiting or slowing the liberation of the other. And so there's this back and forth. Like they support each other in both desiring the same outcome, but at the same time, the Palestinians benefit from support from the IRGC. So, if the IRGC gone, where are they going to get that support from in the future? It's all, it's all up in the air, right? And the Iranians are like, why should we not overthrow our government even just because we support you, So it's kind of, it's problematic, that's all.
May I continue?
Yeah, America.
So the problem comes when programs of resistance get left. They see everything through lens of Palestine. And this is their two independent situation going on. And this should not get mixed up. What I'm saying is, I do not believe Donald Trump cared about my people. Donald Trump cared about Donald Trump. Full stop. The reason right now they're doing it, there's multiple angles to it. There's the security of Israel. There's a situation for make oil more expensive for China. China imports somewhere around 16 million barrels a day. We provide them somewhere between 1.3 to 1.9 million barrels a day, very cheap. Because of the sanction, they don't pay us money. They give us credit. Then we buy junk from and import it. So we are a golden goose that they don't want to let it go. So there's like multiple facets to this. That is not just, Trump cares about me. Of course not. That's why I say people don't care about others. Countries do not have friends or enemies. Countries have common benefit. Full stop. If you think that countries have friends, you're delusional. That's not how it works in the real world. So I'm not in the camp of believing that Trump does this because they care about my people. No, Trump does this because it benefits Trumps. That's a reality of the world that we are living.
I want to piggyback off of what Marisol was saying about particularly people on the left looking at everything through the lens of what's been going on in Palestine, and that's because of the money that America's been towards Israel. But there's basically what Marisol piggybacking off of him is that the Palestinian people have been getting help from our oppressors for a long time for their own liberation, for their own freedom. Now our people are getting help from their oppressors, and you want to clutch your pearls? It is what Marisol is saying. Everybody just aligns. They don't care about each other. It's just about interest and where they align. And the people suffer. We all turn against the people. Somebody said, I have no go to Hashimi because he's been waiting for a really long time. So Hashimi, one of your says that you have like this different perspective. Do you want to share?
Yeah, so I mean, what Marshall was talking about, first of all, hello everyone. So you guys need to understand something. What Marshall is saying is totally fact, and I actually do agree with him. You need to differentiate two things. One, personal empathetic feelings towards others. The other is if that feeling of yours should impact the country's foreign policy. So I do differentiate that. So I personally feel empathetic towards the Palestinians. I don't want kids to get killed. I love them, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to Iranian foreign policy, I can say this straight about Palestine at all. And Iran shouldn't care about Palestine at all. Why? It's because we are not able to sustain our people and provide them with their initial basic needs. That's why we cannot afford to support a foreign nation. Now, I don't care if that's Palestine, that's the white American kids in the US. I just don't care. And this is something which is very hypocritical of other nations. Like, for example, a Saudi guy sitting in Riyadh having his basic needs of life, is an Arab, is drinking, is having fun, and then he points fingers towards Iranians. Oh, why don't you support Palestine? There's something you should understand. Politics, you should not involve your empathetic feelings towards it. It should be basically you trying to see what benefits your people. I don't care if you call that selfish. I don't care. This is the job of the government. It should provide for its own people, right? So putting this aside, regarding Iran right now, what's happening in Iran, I do agree with Marcel. And by the way, his view is very mature. It's a very mature view that he understands that the USA doesn't love the Iranian people, is not doing this because of Iranians. He do understand that this is for the benefit of USA. And by the way, what he said is actually statistically correct as well. 70% of the oil and resources of China is getting out from the Strait of Hormuz. So actually China is getting impacted more by this war than USA. So, I mean, I would love to hear from him more because I do actually believe me and him, we can reach more agreements because the only place that I would disagree with a lot of Iranians is that this situation, Iranians are divided into three groups. Either they just don't have any opinion, or they're pro-foreign invasion. They're saying we need to side with the USA. And I don't support any foreign invasion. And I don't support the fact of calling people to the streets in this situation because I do believe that there's going to be bloodshed. So, I mean, I do agree with everything Marshall is saying. And this was just my perspective, and I just divide the Iranian opinion into three, and then we can talk about it. There's no issue with that.
Money have such as training video. But I just want to comment on one thing. The core of what is wrong with the world, the reason why the Iranians have to look to Israel, who is evil in its own right for liberation, and the Palestinians have to look to Iran for their liberation. The core of it is because of the way that we are benefit your own people mentality. Humanity's thinking of benefit your own people is what is causing us to have wars and to deteriorate. Now, I realize we are not at the consciousness level to remove that way of thinking. And because of that, you're right, Hashemi. We have to think about it's kind of like, you know, the people that watch sports and they don't really pick a team. They're not there to pick a team. They're just there to report how things are going to go down and how the players are performing. That's like how I'm acting. Like Pahlavi, I don't care if Pahlavi is a leader in Iran or not a leader in Iran, as long as my people have liberation. But what I do is I report how things are playing out. People think that I'm siding with somebody. No. I'm looking at where things are on the chessboard. Like, here's another thing that's very hurtful for some people to hear. Because you can't convince me of that. Real war crimes were committed. And now, in order to clean their hands from that and make the world forget, it is in their interest to liberate the Iranian people and do it well, actually. If you're going to try to change the narrative worldwide, and you have the court of public opinion against you, and you have the court of the international court against you, this play right here would actually be in your benefit. It would behoove you. And it's an unfortunate thing that this is like, when we're talking about playing out where everything is on the chessboard, that's just the reality of that being on the chessboard. People can argue with me if that's not a strategic move or not. I'd be happy to argue if that's a move that they're trying to make, but I think it is. And that works towards the liberation of the Iranian people. So anyone is welcome to the
Just 10 seconds. One request to Merzad. Merzad, I would love you to add me back because I am trying to add amazing people like you who are realistic, and I'm deleting people who have made me half psycho. Please add me back if you can. And Silajan, I would love to tell you one more thing, that Hashmi is actually a Shia Muslim like me, and he happens to be an Iranian. I'm a Shia from Pakistan, and Hashmi is a Shia from Iran. So here we go. You have another Shia.
Yeah,
who's like
I know a handful of Shias who are adamantly against this regime and Khamenei, and so I think that it would behoove also the Iranian people to realize that that's in our interest for more Shias to come on this side and be adamantly against this government. That would actually be for the security and safety of the future of our nation when it comes to civil war and tension. It would behoove us to stop treating Shias that hate the regime like that. And I'm so sorry that keeps happening to y'all, really. But people have to think. I really think that the ability to think in multi-dimensionally or having multi-track of thinking, it has to do with like maybe intelligence. And I think, I don't know, I could be wrong totally, but it seems like the lower intelligence you have, the more capable you are at looking at things multidimensionally and multifacetedly. And so most people, they have their soccer team, they pick it, my team is this team, and everything else is, shit. And, like almost like a barbarian Neanderthal type thinking. I'm incapable of thinking on anything other than this track. And I think education makes you more able to look at things at a wider scope. But maybe that's me being, maybe that's wrong. But it's just been so fascinating to see, and so hurtful. Like when I see Bassem Youssef say things like calling Khamenei a martyr, I'm like, murderers are not martyrs. Y'all are drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, guys, if you're listening to my voice, go back and tell them, like Bassem Youssef and all this stuff, hating one does not mean you like the other. Even we watch so much movies, there's always the good guy and the bad guy in our minds. So if one is bad, the other must be good. And that's just not how it is here. And so if you think that Israel is bad, then the Islamic regime, they must be the good ones. Bullshit. And the Islamic regime is playing off of that propaganda by making you all think that they're just lying. We don't. It's just that it's Israel that's, making you think this, and Khamenei's noble, righteous cause. My God. I can't pronounce her name, but welcome to the stage.
Thank you. What are you talking about?
I can tell from your voice that you're not like a good faith actor. So why don't you get on with it and say mean things?
What? Not what?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I can sense differently. but go ahead. I'm highly sensitive right now. Like, so in tune. Yeah, so you might as well get on with it.
No, I didn't do anything. I was just gonna add to your point. But yeah, I feel like people. I don't know why it's so hard to like comprehend that. Just because the other side is bad doesn't mean the other side is good.
Absolutely, I agree.
Especially with like the stuff going on in Iran, the Iranian regime. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I'm walking home. But it's just like, I don't know, just because Israel done some horrible things and like, that doesn't mean, the regime's good at all. I don't understand people that are supporting the IRGC.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. Maybe I was wrong. I thought that your voice sounded like this particular girl who comes on. I think she's from Afghanistan, and she always starts off cool, but then it always goes left. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not her. You're not her.
Yeah, I just have a question, right? What is the problem in the time of war to support the armed forces of your country, even if you disagree with them? Like I personally, right? I don't like Khamenei, I hate IRGC, but when it's at the time of war, and I have a choice to either side with the enemy against them.
There's nothing that you can make me do to side with Netanyahu or Khamenei. I don't give a shit. You know how they say, like even right now, the Iranians are utilizing the interests of the Israeli government. I understand why they're doing that, but I don't like it. It makes me sick. There's nothing that's gonna make me support Khamenei or Netanyahu. Like, there's just nothing. To me, these are demons.
Yeah, but you have to understand the Iranian armed forces are not Khamenei. There's a lot of people in the armed force that their job.
These armed forces are killing my people. They're not fighting abroad.
That's the military branch.
They're being used against our people.
No, I understand. The suppression is done by a military branch, but it's not the army as a whole. So we have, for example, Air Force. Does Air Force kill the people? Air Force was not even involved in killing the people. Or those who sit at the air defense systems, they're not involved in the riot, killing those who participated in protests. So it's good not to generalize all the armed forces. Of course, the Basij, they're the dirty scumbags, right? Even the Sepah, some of those Sepah workers who, participated in killing the people in the protesters, I condemn them too. But you cannot say all the armed forces are bad just because there are military branches that are idiots and they're suppressing the people.
I don't think she said that, though. I don't think she said all of them. I definitely am, because they literally created it like this to have these different branches so you can say things like that, but it doesn't matter. If they are under the control of the supreme leader, then just put them in the trash basket.
So, this is the difference between me and you and many other Iranians. I don't view everything to be black and white. So you're saying all the armed people. Yeah. So if you don't, then you need to understand that, for example, maybe just imagine your mother is in Iran and there are Israeli bombs coming towards her house. The only people who are defending your mother is basically the same armed forces that you're saying they're scumbags. So you need to understand that
the Israeli bombs are not coming towards my mom. They're coming towards the people that are oppressing us.
Is the hospital of Gandhi in Iran oppressing the Iranians?
Have they targeted the hospital?
Yes.
I don't believe that.
3 hours ago.
Hashmi, listen. You and I both know, if you're really Iranian, then you know that we can't put it past this government to sabotage certain sites themselves to put pressure and propaganda on America to stop attacking them. Now, I'm not saying that, Israel and America are good because of that. What I'm saying is that we both know we can't put it past this government to do something like that. And if you disagree with me, then I know that you're not with us at all. Because you know it's a fact that they're willing to do stuff like that, to create a narrative they're killing the girls. You know, they're killing the schoolgirls like they did in Gaza. They're going to come over here and they're going to flatten justice. You know that they're willing to do that. So we can't even definitively say. All I know, let me tell you what I know, Hashimi. So far, they've put a bomb right under the ass of Khamenei. They've taken out 12 leaders and they took out the main TV station that they have. I remember before this, even though I'm not one of those people, but the Iranian people were like, even if some of us have to die, just take them out. That's by them. So, can you go back over what you're saying about Israel bombing our grandmas again?
Yeah, of course. So this is the thing, right? I understand, you hate Khamenei, you hate the Iranian government to the point that you are trying to put forth this narrative that even the hospital bombings are done by Iran.
No, I'm saying you can't put it past them. I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. You can't put it past them, so you cannot accuse them of doing that, right?
Oh, you're with them, dude. Let me ask you a question.
Of course, I'm with the Iranian army right now. Of course I am. And I'm proud of it.
Someone actually don't make up stories now.
Stories of what? No, at the time of the war, and I do proudly say this, at the time of the war.
They are fighting the Islamic regime. They're not fighting the Iranian people.
No, they are.
Listen, this is going to be the camel breaking the camel's back right here. I'm going to ask you one question. Is it beyond the capacity or something that this regime would do is attack their own sites to create a narrative of propaganda? Would they do something like that, or would they not do something like that?
The Iranian army would never target civilians. Never.
He's not with us. Like, they already have targeted civilians. They've targeted schoolgirls, okay? School freaking girls. Listen, normally I would have opposing views. You know I'm not opposed to having different voices. Today I was here to talk to like the Bassem Youssefs and the Chinks of the world. But I don't have any tolerance right now to make room to argue with somebody who's booty clapping for the regime. So I just don't. We can maybe argue another day. Today's not the day.
It's also interesting because they're all about, they're all about human rights, and they care so much about Palestine, but they don't care about innocent people or like the actual people that are dying. They don't care about that.
Go ahead, Mirza. You don't need a chili pepper.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm not interrupting anybody else. So, Obi, I agree with 20% of his comments. I was going to just have some statements. Part of what he said is correct. That yes, the person that is on top of the mountain and managing the radar system has nothing to do with killing other people. But there's a very big but here. That person providing security to everybody, including the people who have their hand dirty to blood of Iranian people. So because he's helping them, to me it is okay that person get killed to facilitate killing Khamenei, to facilitate killing, Ahmadinejad, to facilitate killing the rest of them. That's being called part of the sadness of the war. Yes, he is correct, that guy has nothing to do, but he can, at this point, if we let the war goes the way it is planned, that I believe the plan is only hitting Iranian military infrastructure. Hopefully they're not going after energy, water, communication, then I'm still supporting. But when the table change and they go after energy infrastructure, then I would say, okay, this is Iraq 2003 playbook. Then I'm like, all this is like. But at this point, I'm willing to give them benefit of doubt.
I don't give them the benefit We've seen it in Gaza, we've seen it in Iraq, we've seen it in other places. But I don't think they're going to do it here because it's not in their interest to do it here. It actually is in their interest to free the Iranian people and do it and land it real right, actually. Especially if they want to clean up that image that you're talking about right there. And especially because the Iranians are rolling around with Israeli flags on their hands. That's really good PR work. Do you understand what I'm saying here, Todd?
Okay, for conclusion was what I wanted to say, so we're at the same page.
But Silajan, I just Googled the hospital thing is on the news.
Oh,
Let me explain something. They didn't hit the hospital directly. The blast took damage to windows and broke the blast. One thing that we should consider that's a war crime based on Geneva Convention, so everybody knows that. It happened during 12-day war. They hit a hospital in Kermanshah that was for University of Medicine. They did that. So we know that happened, but what the Israelis said at that time, that was a mistake. The bombs are not 100% accurate, and there would be some malfunction in it. It would be a very crazy move to do that. Like, some of the things Salah said is 100% accurate, especially when she was talking about bombing the school. I think that could be done by Iranian regime, or it could be as simple as one of their missile malfunctions.
And let me tell you why. Because they want to, and they've done this a million times in our country, is try to rally and unify the people behind a common enemy, like Homeboy was just trying to do right now. So if they can paint a picture that this is a war on the Iranian people, then stop trying to overthrow your government. Let's come together and let's defend this country. So it would not be in the interest of Iran and Israel for the mission that they're on to just miscellaneously try to target. Like, they're trying to do as little as that for this particular mission, not because they're benevolent and would never do that. Make it clear. So, Myers, does that make sense?
Yeah. I just Googled it, so it does say that, but I'm going in the details now. Yeah.
If you're talking about the Reuters article, I read that there's this, and that's what happened. They hit near the hospital, the blast. It was not a direct impact. So when I was a kid, Iranian regime blew up part of Imam Reza is the eighth imam in Shia religion, and to blame it on and one of the opposition group. So they have the history of that. And this.
What did they do to Imam Reza? What did they do to Imam Reza's trial?
They had a suicide bombing. They put a bomb and detonate that and killed, like, I think 15 or 20 people died. It's over 30 years ago. It did happen when I was a kid. Just Google it, it could come up. And later, because of some internal conflict, a whistleblower actually, talked about it, and now everybody in Iran knows that they did this on purpose. They blew up the shrine just to, want to have some retaliation against one of the opposition group. And so to get rid of them.
Can I add something? In 1978, I think, they burned a movie theater, Rex, and they say that Savak did it. Okay, and years ago, someone was talking to someone and it was recorded, and they talk how they did it because they wanted to do a propaganda against Savak. And the guy was telling how they did it themselves. So this is something I want to say something else regarding the school. I am not saying it was okay to do it. I am not saying anything, but I have put there is a Twitter post what kind of sick idea puts the school in the same compound if they don't want to use it as a shield, okay? Because there are explosives in the compounds. It's a IRGC compound, so always there is, maybe sometimes they will have tanks, maybe they will have different things. And how do you put the elementary school in the same compound? And you can see the map. It was close to the other buildings, but also there is a warehouse next to it, literally next to it. And I don't say it was the right thing. Right now we don't know who did it really, but if it was done with the shots of Israel or US, it was not an intentional error. It was an error because it was too close to it. And although I absolutely don't agree with you with whatever in Israel or anything happened, I agree only with one part of what you said. They have amazing good relationship with Iranians. Most of Iranians support Israel. Most of the Iranians support USA. So they don't need to destroy their infrastructures. Like in Iraq, it was not like that. Although Saddam was a dictator, still they had so much problem after they took Saddam away from the country.
Like unless they're unless like you're one of the Iranian people who just like hate all Muslims and are rude to all Muslims and Shia, then you booty clap for Israel. But all the Iranians that I know that don't hate people just to hate people, they don't like Israel, but they know their interests align. Like they basically realize that Israel's committing crimes. They realize that the Palestinian people deserve their freedom, and they just know that this is how the world works, and they're like, okay, they're going to help us do this or whatever, but they realize that the Palestinian people are being wrong, and that is not, a good situation, and are not Zionists. The only people that I know are Zionists are either the Persian Jews or the people who hate Islam so bad that they can't see anything else, any reality and pain of other people. That's how much they just hate Islam. Like they're buying the narrative that this is just a war between Muslims and Jews, not that colonization and people's land has been stolen and they've been oppressed and occupied. No, that's not the real story. It's just a bunch of fanatical Muslims. That's the story that they've bought into because they've used help from the Islamic Republic of Iran. But these Palestinians are Christians, they are Muslims, they're atheists, they lived in peace with each other for centuries. We're not going to get into all of that, but it's just, it's not true, is what I'm saying. You have to realize that if you're a Christian, Zionism actually goes against our Christian beliefs. The fact that you're saying that you have the Christians in America that are evangelical, that they have this whole narrative that they believe that you're like booty clap for Israel no matter what crime they commit. Then you have like the Catholics, the Orthodox, all the Christians outside of America who strongly realize that this is not okay. This is supremacy of a people. And any supremacy that says this should only be a Jewish state, even if you're saying it should only, you're wrong. You're just wrong. They fill in the blank. I don't care. This should only be a white state. This should only be a Bahari state. Fill it in. I don't care. This should only be a Christian state. You've gone. Whatever.
I never said it should be all Jewish state. I never said that.
That is what Zionism is, Al. Zionism means one thing, that you believe that Israel should be a Jewish state. It should be for the Jews. that the Jewish people have the right to a state just for themselves. And their nation state law is that only they have the right to self-determination. So when you call yourself a Zionist, you're saying that Israel should be a Jewish state. That's what you're saying. Not Israel should be.
Look, Christian, Muslim. But I say hold up. I believe the land that they have now is their land. I don't believe they occupied it.
Okay. All right.
I believe everywhere under their control. Absolutely.
Now, religion should not, honestly, I want you to think of the logic. You have the Jewish people that were living there that converted to Christianity, right? You know that. You're a Christian. The Jewish people that were there, they converted to Christianity. All the disciples, all the believers that came after them they have the most genetic similarities to the ancient Jews. Do you not think that some of them converted to Islam too? Yes, there's people that migrated there too. But if people were able to convert to Christianity, maybe some of them, does that ever dawn on you? And what I'm saying is that if I don't even believe in this type of thing, but if you're going to think about who belongs to the land when it comes to genetics, then do you think that may, and that's even debatable, how an ancestor that was Jewish 2,000, 3,000 years ago may have, is that land belongs to them more than the people that have 12, 14 generations of their family dead in the soil? I feel like it makes me want to rip my body when I understand the scope of everything. I just hate how the world is. And earlier I said y'all are all stupid and I hate y'all, but I really love y'all actually, even though y'all are stupid.
And you love me more, so you love me more. That's legit. Okay, Al, to you, I must say this. Earlier, this was my question, now we are calm. This is exactly what I was trying to ask you. And I totally understand, if you remember, I messaged you the other day, you check our back channel message, you will realize my message, I messaged you something very positive and you actually liked my message when I said to you, this is exactly what I was asking you, that when you said that we have same moral values or whatever, this is what I was trying to understand, that when the values of the Iranian nationalism is based on a country or a culture or a nation, then on what basis are you calling yourself Zionism? Because the concept of Zionism is based on religion. So I was confused because you're mixing two things. But now you just said that you believe in everyone should have a right to be in Israel. I also believe that Israel has a right to exist. I am not one to say that, but Israel is a reality. But by me saying Israel has the right to exist or not doesn't mean anything. But what I'm saying is that they have it. But saying a country, even as a Pakistani citizen, I'm against Pakistan to be Islamic Republic. I think Pakistan should be the Republic of Pakistan. Countries don't have a religion. Countries should be a republic of people, not Islamic or Jewish or Christian republics.
So I believe that Israel should be for everyone and it should be a democracy for everyone, that everyone should have the right to self-determination, and you're not a Zionist anymore, I live on.
I believe that land belongs to Israel, belongs to the people who own it, but I also do believe that other nations have the right to leave there.
So who owns it? Some guy from New York stepped foot there. Does Norm own it? In the audience right there, we have people that have lost 40, 50 members of their family, for all we know, and they've lived there for thousands of years, but no one has the right to the land.
I don't say that deserves to live there more. I never said that.
Okay, so then who?
Whoever is living there.
Okay, I'm cool with that. Then stop saying that it's a Jewish state. Whoever is living there now,
I am not saying it's a majority Jewish state.
No.
They are the majority right now.
They're only the majority because others oppressed and under occupation.
Can I say something?
If they let's say they took the West Bank area, made it a part of Israel, they would no longer be the Jewish majority. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, okay. So I've been listening to this conversation, then I had to leave for a while. I captured the question that Munir had earlier, but this conversation about the Israel-Palestinians, it's not going anywhere because I think there are a lot of things that needs to be fixed here. First of all, there is no strong majority under the land which Israel controls, right? It's in best case it's half-half. It's a half-half division, maybe a little more Jews, but generally speaking, it's a half-half religion, half-half division between the number of Christian Palestinians and the Israeli Jews living within the same territory that Israel controls. So that's one thing. Another is that land always belongs to people who live over this land. So there are laws in Israel that allows any Jew to get citizenship immediately after entering Israel, get an Israeli passport. If that Jew is from Lithuania, if it's from Ethiopia, if it's from New York, or if it's from Mexico. And the people, those who are East Jerusalem, which is the capital of Israel, by the way, leave East Jerusalem, even for a few years, the right to live in East Jerusalem is being revoked. So you have to read up on this stuff. There was a law passed in Israel, in Knesset, a few years ago, that declares explicitly that Israel is a Jewish state. The nature of Israel is a Jewish state. So there were also opposition inside Israel, including among the Jews, against this law, but it has been passed. Also, Zionism is not about religion. That's a misconception a lot of people have. You have to know who Theodor Herzl is. You have to know the orders of Zionism. Zionism originally was a nationalistic movement. It had nothing to do with religion. It was a modern nationalistic.
It was God, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the most early Zionists, socialists, they were establishing kibbutz in Israel.
They wanted to move away from religion and make it an ethnic identity.
Yeah, it was identity. It was ethnic.
Yeah.
Ben-Gurion was not a diva. You know, if you look at the forefathers of the Zionism and the establishment of Israel, none of them were religious, right? It has something to do with ethnicity. It has something to do with modern nationalism. So when you want to study Zionism, you have to study modern nationalism. Of course, there is a religious flavor that has been added to Zionism in the last couple of decades, I would say, you know, since Netanyahu came to power and, you know, he started his career and stuff like that. So you have to know all this stuff before we actually can talk about these things, right? In best case at the moment, what can describe the situation, whether we like it or not, it's apartheid. It's a discriminatory system, right? That doesn't mean that the Israel should be wiped off the map. It means that there are people who live there, including Israelis that have lived there for 3 generations, 4 generations, and the Palestinians who have been living there for several generations, you know, and more. And they are equal in front of law. At the moment, that's not the case. They are not equal. There are 2 sets of laws applied to the people living from the Mediterranean Sea to the if a Jewish Israeli commits a crime, he goes to civil court. If a Palestinian commits a crime, he goes to military court. Because the Palestinians are under Israel. They are under the military jurisdiction. They are not able to go to civil court, right? So this is discrimination.
Talk about Israel proper.
Well, I don't have to make that statement. Let me speak. Yeah, I don't have to make that decision.
Like giving a very detailed. There's a couple areas I disagree, but he's giving a very holistic overview and very neutral with that. So if you interrupt, please just let me know.
And I don't have to make that distinction between 1948 and 1967. And guess what? Who doesn't make that distinction? Is Naftali Bennett and Benjamin Netanyahu. They claim that Judea and Samaria, aka West Bank, is part of Israel proper. Golan Heights is part of Israel proper. So if you say they aren't part of Israel proper, then you are against what Benjamin Netanyahu and Naftali Bennett and everybody else in the Israeli right is saying. Because they are the ones that say the entirety of the land belongs to Israel, right? So first go and convince them and then come back to me and say, okay, let's 1948. That's one thing. So, Bruce, let me finish. Let me finish. Okay. Second thing I want to talk about. I don't. This is something I just said to address the issue about the Israeli-Palestinian story. Now I want to talk about Monir's question. You mentioned that the Iranian opposition, who are Zionists. That's not the case. It's a minority. A lot of Iranian sympathy towards Israel, and you have to understand the reasons behind it. One of the major reasons is that most of this sympathy or this alignment with Israel comes from the tactical standpoint. Because you live under a regime that is extremely oppressive. Palestinian cause and anti-Israeli rhetoric, their kind of front row in the foreign policy, then in order to tackle that, a lot of Iranians take a counter-argumentative approach. So they see this, okay, let's say something in contrast to what the Islamic Republic is saying. So there is no genuine kind of, some people try to say, oh, we are like a historic friendship between the Jews and Persians. And okay, those are maybe partial. That doesn't really address the main issue, is that most Iranians are tired of the anti-Israeli rhetoric that is given by the Islamic Republic, because they see this as a problematic rhetoric, so they want to change that rhetoric, and so that's incorrect. There are many who have a more nuanced view towards the Palestinian-Israeli issue, and there are many Iranians who think this is not our war. This is not our cause, It's important, okay, from a humanitarian standpoint, We can look at it from a humanitarian standpoint. But we have more stuff to deal with domestically and also closer to our border than to be concerned with Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Now, a lot of people in this room, they would say, Israel has this global agenda of dominating the whole world and blah, 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 right? But that is not our priority. It's not our priority number one to destroy supposed Israel's future hegemony of the region. That is to be debated. But a lot of people take that this is as a kind of their ideological standpoint, that there is this big imperialism that is going to take over the whole place and is going to carve up the countries, etc. I think there is some merit to that, but I don't. Every single issue that concerns Iran lens. So that's my entire point. I think.
God, you're like my best friend. There's a couple areas, of course, that they're not worth even. I mean, you're like my twin or something. That's for you. Good luck.
Because
Bruce asked me, I did not say that. I said some people believe that. And I said
that needs to be addressed.
I said that needs to be debated.
Yeah, what is that?
Right?
That means that implies that is possible, is likely to you?
No, it's open for debate. I did not say, I did not take a stance because that's not what is we are debating right now. Right?
Your murder, I don't believe it, but it's something to discuss. Have